Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that relaxation, and as you exhale, allow your eyelids to close. That's it. Breathing in a feeling of calm, relaxation, and releasing tension in the outward breath. That's it. I want you to create the idea of a resourceful energy, like it's a bright light, perhaps a white light, or a colorful light like yellow or orange. And as you breathe in, just imagine breathing in that bright light of resourcefulness. But as you exhale, just imagine you're releasing a grey or dark color, and allow this darkness to represent any emotions you've been holding on to: annoyance, frustration, stress. Feel it leave your body in your outward breath. And you can think of just breathing in and breathing out like a transfusion. Imagine that bright, vibrant light going in through your nose, into your lungs, and then imagine your heart distributing those powerful, distilled resources to every cell in your body. And imagine anything that's not serving you leaving your body in the same way that you don't think about breathing in oxygen or exhaling carbon dioxide. It just happens. But the more of this resourceful relaxation you breathe in, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe. So release any tension in your forehead, your jaw, your neck and shoulders, just releasing and relaxing. Breathing in what you need, exhaling what you don't. But as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to imagine a nearby park with lots of open spaces, green fields, ancient trees. But in particular, I want you to think of bathing ponds. And I wonder if you could imagine these bathing ponds on a summer's day, with no one else around. Imagine wearing whatever clothing is suitable to just enjoy these bathing ponds. I wonder if you could imagine starting to swim, perhaps breaststroke, in the water. The water isn't warm, but it's not cold. Perhaps it feels refreshing, invigorating. As you feel the rhythmic movement of your body gliding through the water, notice your breathing also finds a rhythm. That's it. And notice there is no one else around. These bathing ponds out in nature feels grounding, taking away any negative energy and stress, and giving you a wonderful feeling of vitality, energy, and resourcefulness. That's it. I want you to feel that somehow the water is absorbing anything that is holding you back, Feelings of frustration, stress, even anger, just feel it. Leaving your body and just dissipating there into the water. But I want you to imagine these are no ordinary bathing ponds. Give them magical powers. Whatever resources would be most useful for you right now, imagine somehow these resources are in the water. That may be resilience. Feel your body soaking up the resilience from within the water and absorbing it into you. Perhaps it's amplifying already inherent Stoic ways of thinking to control all that you can and accept all that you can't. Feel yourself becoming more resilient, more stoic, more objective. Your eye is on your prize, and that is a desirable future. I want you to get a sense that right now you may be in a dark tunnel, but you can see the light at the end. And it may be the case that someone is hoping that you never see the end of that tunnel. But as you feel this determination, perspective, resilience, but also optimism, with every fiber of your being, you know it's just a matter of time until you have the quality of life perhaps you've been craving for months, if not years. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a floating island there on these bathing ponds. Perhaps it's made of wood or something else. Imagine climbing up on this floating island and seeing the most comfortable reclining chair possible. Think of the material. Think of the softness. Dry yourself down and place yourself in this comfortable chair on this floating island. And to your surprise, you start to see a giant screen appear floating over the water. I want you to get a sense that this screen enables you to see the past and the future. But let's go to the past first. I want you to see on that screen a moment where you were highly triggered. Perhaps you had uncovered certain information. But I want you to be the observer. You're not in the memory. You're floating on a pond on a comfy chair, looking up at a giant screen. You're just seeing the memory, not reliving the memory. And I want you to see it as it did happen, almost like it was filmed by a documentary film crew, and you're just seeing what was filmed. You're in the memory, but you're observing the memory. And like any good movie or TV show, time isn't linear. You can jump forward. What took place over days or weeks can take place in minutes on a screen. But see yourself as you were, as it actually happened. See how you uncovered the information. See how you were emotionally affected, perhaps shaking or furious. See your emotional coping strategies after. maybe drinking, maybe having to share this information with someone you trusted. See it all as it happened. But I want you to get the sense that just as you used to watch old movies on a VHS recorder, you could hit the rewind button. When it gets to the end, just imagine you've got that remote control in your hand and you hit the rewind button. So you see everything happening backwards. And this almost seems to take the emotion out of the memory. And then, when it gets to the beginning, I want you to see a different version of you. I want you to see the point where that version of you uncovers the same information, but see that version of you smiling, almost with a knowing look on your face, like, of course. See that version of you unfazed, unbothered, not reacting, but equally knowing that they will do something with this information. I want you to see what then happens, how they communicate or what they do. But this is a version of you that is in control, decisive, and responsive, but not reactive. I want you to see that version of you not getting angry or stressed or furious or anything other than pragmatic. You are seeing you relive that memory in a stoic, pragmatic way, dealing with it the way you would have loved to deal with it if you could go back in time and do it knowing what you now know. And notice how a chain reaction takes a different course. No need for drinking alcohol, no need for intrusive thoughts or low self-worth, because that version of you makes the evaluation that this is about the decisions of someone else, that your value is not linked to the standards, behavior, or choices of someone else. And when you've seen that memory the way you would like it to be, let me know by nodding your head. Get a sense that a seed has been planted deep in your subconscious mind that a crisis, a betrayal, an attempt to trigger you doesn't mean that it will. I want you to go forwards in time and locate a recent memory where perhaps an email caused you to do something that you now consider to be self-destructive. Don't relive the memory. Remember, you're on a comfy chair on a floating island, on a bathing pond where no one else is but you. So see yourself opening up a laptop, reading an email. See yourself smiling. You can almost read your inner dialogue. Maybe it says something like, "Nice try." Of course. Maybe it's even a little giggle in your inner dialogue, and you can just imagine hearing that even though you're observing it. I want you to see that version of you close the laptop and go off and do exactly what you were going to do anyway, knowing that your resources exceeds any of these demands. They want to trigger you, and therefore to be triggered is playing their game. But see a version of you that is playing your game. Maybe that's a game of ambivalence, of empowerment. But if it's an attempt at a war of attrition, see yourself as being unbreakable. That you can play this game as long as you need to, even if you don't want to. That's it. And maybe see yourself handling lots of situations like that. It almost feels like if the cable from a light switch to the light is cut, someone can attempt to press that button, but the light will never switch on. And we need to get a sense that this version of you has cut the link between information and frustration, or annoyance, or stress or anger. It seems to be rewired to a level of pragmatic empowerment, a stoic level of, I'll deal with this on my terms. In fact, the more they attempt to trigger you, the more stoic, empowered, perhaps even playful you become, knowing that it wins in two different ways. You feel better about what's happening, and they feel more frustrated that their attempt to coerce you, to break you, is simply building you up. Perhaps you have a flashback of an old children's movie. There's always that one scene where the energy attempting to destroy ends up charging up the hero or the villain to make them even stronger. What if their attempt to break you emboldens you, increases your mental fortitude, makes you more resilient? I want you to get a sense that there is a different path. Find yourself there, back on that chair and feeling comfortable, and then see someone you admire in a crisis. And perhaps you can see them at a point where they were dealing with something complex, difficult, something that would really challenge and trigger the average person, but see them dealing with it in a way where they seem to be objective. They evaluated all the information, but almost like an exceptional general, perhaps had a feeling that running into battle would be the worst thing to do. Instead, they evaluated all of their options, incubated those ideas, and then were decisive when they wanted to be decisive. I want you to see that version of them that you admire, and then imagine stepping into the screen, feeling resourceful in the way that they are resourceful. Harness that objectivity, that perspective, the ability not to be triggered or reactive, but to be able to gather the information and respond in your terms. I want you to feel that resource in your body somewhere. Maybe it's in your heart, your head, or somewhere else, and just point to where you feel that. Yeah, and then imagine a three-dimensional object in that place. It could be a cube, a pyramid, or something else. Give it a color. Notice if it moves, and if it does, make it move faster in that same direction. Maybe it's pulsating or spinning. Whatever color you give it, amplify that color until it grows and glows until you feel that feeling of resourcefulness even more intently. Consider this a superpower. Many people find themselves in awful predicaments because they are triggered and react. I want you to get a sense that this is the ability to respond on your terms. And your terms could be your time frames, in your way. I want you to get a sense that this is linked to feelings of infinite resourcefulness, powerful resilience. This version of you doesn't need anything to cope. This version of you almost has a bring it on attitude. Is this the best you can do? It almost feels like it's too easy for you to handle these things. So take that feeling, return back to the chair, and then imagine seeing yourself on that large screen floating over the pond. A day from now, a week from now, where you get perhaps a very aggressive or unfair email. See yourself on the screen with that glowing color there in that location. This time it feels like you're harnessing the power of you at your most resourceful. Maybe see yourself knowing that this is the future, receiving some information. It could be a long letter by email. It could be hearing information that's been said about you that just isn't true. But instead of seeing yourself triggered or bothered or annoyed, see yourself calm, perhaps even smiling. See yourself with skin so thick you feel more resilient than a rhinoceros. You are impenetrable to be triggered. I want you to get a sense that you're observing the future version of you handling whatever the event is in a responsive, elegant, calm way. When you see the future version of you dealing with it in the way you would like to deal with it, let me know by nodding your head. Rewind it and then step into the screen. Now imagine whatever's happening is happening to you like it's happening in the present. Maybe you're reading an email, maybe you're hearing something. But now feel how you would feel if the same thing happened and you were unfazed, unflappable. The very opposite of being triggered. Maybe you feel, I can handle this. You get a sense that each of these events still means you're getting closer to the light at the end of that tunnel. If it's a war of attrition they want, and you feel unbreakable, then it can only go the way you want it to go. And if it feels like you can really handle this, with no desire to do anything destructive, anything linked to self-pity, this is a confident, calm, stoic version of you. If it feels that your resources exceed this demand, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And get a sense that this is now your default. The more they try and trigger you, the more resourceful you'll become. And if there are any moments that catch you off guard, that will just be like boot camp, like training. Your brain will learn how to handle the same situation in a more empowered way the next time something similar happens. You either win or you learn. There is no going backwards. Allow yourself to be back there on that chair on the floating pond and just decide it's time to swim back to those open spaces, but you feel a reinvigorated, refreshed version of you has returned. Something with more left in the tank that you can handle whatever life throws at you. As you return, feel like you're returning to the here and now, taking all of these resources, strategies, and ideas back with you, feeling like you have an edge. That if the same things that bothered you before now happen, you can handle it in the way you decide. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Start to calibrate to the here and now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.